Good afternoon, all. I want to welcome you here this afternoon to greet one of our first candidates for Superintendent of Fayette County Public Schools. I first want to take this opportunity to thank our community for their support during this whole process. We began this process by asking for community support for the kind of characteristics they're looking for in our new superintendent. The community, 44 focus groups met, gave us input. More than 300 or about 300 people responded online. Today we have focus groups that have met with our candidate, representing the community, our administrators, our cabinet, teachers, parents, classified. All these people have agreed to meet 3 days in a row, ask the same questions, and give the board feedback. So our community has been as involved as we know how to make them in this whole process, and we appreciate the support of our community and the dedication that they show to education in our community. And we're very excited to introduce to you now at this time one of our superintendent candidates, Lou Young from Jessamine County. Lou, I'll turn it over to you. Welcome.
Thank you, Chairman Price, and for all of you for being here today. I feel like this is an endurance contest, and we're going for the last man or woman standing. So, and a shout out to my buddy from Jessamine Journal. I'm glad he's here. So, I think I opened it up for questions, right? Okay, I will be happy to tell you a little bit. I think you've probably seen the resume by now, but I am a native Kentuckian and was born in Washington County, Kentucky, and came to Jessamine County as a 7th grader in 1972. Graduated high school from Jessamine County High when we only had one high school in 1977, and went directly to Eastern Kentucky University, where I majored in Spanish education after having had a lovely experience at a small private school in Madison County at the behest of one of my teachers, and really enjoyed that and never looked back. I went straight through and worked on my master's in Spanish at Eastern Kentucky University, and have since decided to, then went to the University of Kentucky, to earn principal certification and superintendent certification there. Have recently decided to join a cohort group at Northern Kentucky University of some sitting superintendents, so it's a CEO model where we are pursuing a doctorate in educational studies. I have been my entire career in Jessamine County, so 28 years as a Spanish teacher, assistant principal at East Jessamine High the year we opened, and then came to central office as a director of curriculum, eventually assistant superintendent, and then was selected as superintendent of Jessamine County in 2004. I have really enjoyed the experiences I've had in Jessamine County, but interestingly enough, during the time that I first married, my husband was a native of Lexington and graduated from Tates Creek High School, and so we set up housekeeping in Fayette County and lived here for over 20 years. My own children went through the Fayette County Public Schools and had outstanding experiences there, and we moved to Jessamine County permanently in 2004 and have been there since. So filling in some of the gaps perhaps on the bio.
I just ask, what are you learning today as you're meeting with everyone, whether it's students, parents, community? What are you learning about the district that maybe you didn't know?
Well, first I have to echo Chairman Price's words in that it has been a real testament to the community that we've had so many involved people, and I know this is day one, but it's my understanding that these folks have said they're going to do this for 3 days in a row, and I have met so many people, and it is a real outward tangible commitment on their part to the school system. Business and industry folks, private sector, faith-based organizations, a group of amazing young people on a summer school day off, and I've had just an opportunity to see that they have taken the process very seriously, and to have this many people available to meet with me today has been really energizing and an honor. I got to spend time with various different groups and heard some consistency throughout the groups that there is a strong sense that the momentum in Fayette County is very positive and trending in the right direction, and I like the way that a community member put it, that we don't want the cart to roll back downhill. Thought that was a great metaphor for the kind of progress that the community sees in Fayette County Public Schools under Superintendent Silberman's leadership, and so I've had this sense that folks are very proud proud of the work that's going on and want to ensure that we continue to move that forward. I had a similar experience in Jessamine County under my former superintendent, Linda France, who was a real mentor for me, and I just kind of feel like I stand on the shoulders of giants in Jessamine County and have been able to move that forward based on the legacy of leadership that they left behind, and that message has been really strong today. Folks have talked very positively about the experience and about the importance of family involvement, about high academic rigor. There have been some definite threads that have come through today that I'll be pondering for the rest of this week, I'm sure.
Why do you want this job?
Really wondered about that one myself. I think I've been able to kind of hone it down to, this is a challenge for me at a point in my career that I think is just extremely enticing, very appealing for me. I have had wonderful experience in Jessamine County for 28 years, and I'm in really kind of a good place in terms of a soft landing. I've been very upfront with my board about this process, but I know that if I'm not selected for the position, that just means I get to continue to do a job I love in a community that I love. So I don't really see a downside, but I sure see an attractive challenge opportunity here. The reputation of the district is outstanding. I would have the opportunity to make a larger impact and to put into practice in the community where I feel like I have something to contribute and share. So that's been the energy behind the application anyway.
You called this a dream job. When did that dream start?
Maybe in the back of my mind, over the time that Tim and the children and I lived here. I said my experiences with Fayette County Public Schools were very, very positive ones, but my home was Jessamine. So I lived on the south end of town and drove opposite traffic every day to Jessamine County, and we had made the decision that we were going to relocate to Jessamine County even before I became superintendent. But the entire time I was here, I had great respect for Fayette County schools, and so the district itself, second largest in the state, one of the largest in the nation, was a very attractive opportunity. I feel like it matches my skill sets, and it's kind of one of those challenges I'd really like to tackle.
And you talked a little bit about your first objective would be focused on making a smooth transition for things for families. What are the biggest challenges that you see that the incoming superintendent will face?
Well, maybe I cheated, but I asked the cabinet and principals kind of that same question to get a sense of what they saw as those challenges. I really am sincere when I tell you that I think that to a large extent the challenge that Fayette will face with the implementation of Senate Bill 1 is not unlike what the other 173 districts in Kentucky will face, in that we are all going to be wrestling with the implementation of more rigorous, clear standards in reading, language, arts, and math, and that is a lot of technical heavy lifting on the part of teachers and school administrators. So I think that work is ever present. What's really the rocket science of that work is how we superimpose the new standards on top of the system with kids who are already well into that system. I think about a 12-year-old 8th grader who has had, from age 5 to age 12, they've been learning math in a fairly defined curriculum, and then now all of a sudden those math targets are going to be very different in the 8th grade. We can't let him experience he can't fall off of a learning cliff. So what has to happen for us is that we've got to put the support systems in place to make that transition while we make it look easy in the classroom every single day. So that's really the challenge I think that we'll have in implementing the new standards, because you've got to make those transition work for real kids in real systems and real grade levels in real schools. And that Jessamine's wrestling with the same issue. So we'll be dealing with that. I've also heard consistently from every group that with whom I've had the conversation that strategically closing achievement gaps is a number one challenge, and really getting our minds around what the needs of individual students are in the gap is an important challenge, and one that I think that I have some expertise in Jessamine County, some successes that we've had specifically with students with disabilities that I would like to bring to bear. And I know, based on both my paper review of things like the district improvement plan and then conversation with district leaders today, that they're operationalizing around how to make those achievement gaps go away by increasing rigor for all students, for every child, not just a subset of children.
I don't know the level of public scrutiny the superintendent gets in Jessamine County. I can tell you it's going to be a lot here. It's going to be, and it has been and it will be. Are you ready to deal with that? You think you can deal with that?
By Tuesday, I really felt like I had dived into the deep end of the Fayette County fishbowl, and that everybody was watching how fast I could swim. I don't know. I hope I'm ready. I have tried to be as realistic about that as I possibly can. Moving forward with some skills that I've learned over time in terms of how to manage a crisis, for example. Transparency has been an integral part of this process, and I think that this community expects and deserves continued transparency from the superintendent. I believe, frankly, that you've gotten that from Superintendent Silverman, and that has worked well for this community, and I can't think of a scenario where a lack of transparency is a helpful approach. At the same time, I'm trying to learn not to click the section on comments, and if I do, to put that in perspective. And I believe that in every complaint there's something that leaders can learn, and we have to find a healthy, balanced way to approach that. It's always about teaching and modeling, I think, in terms of good communication. So I'm bravely optimistic.
What do you expect your role to be with media relations as superintendent? I have in Jessamine County been at the board's very clear direction, the face and the voice of Jessamine County Schools, and we're the 16th largest district in Kentucky, but that's 12 schools and 7,800 students, and so I am able to manage that. I think I'll need more assistance in Fayette County in order to be able to do that, but I want people to know me. I want people to call me Lou. I want people to email me. I'll make my cell phone number available. Jonathan has had that, and if he needs me, he uses it. I promise to return phone calls promptly to try to get the message out. I also hope that I can learn to be more proactive in terms of messaging for the district. I think that's something that Fayette does very well, and I would, as a leader, like to learn how to do that so that it's not always, so that folks don't see me as the person who reacts to a situation all the time, but maybe as somebody who brings something to the table that's newsworthy and that's, exciting for the community.
You get any questions about snow days?
From the students.
You did? So I don't know how snow days are handled over there. There's a lot of interest in them here. What would you like to tell folks about snow days and how you try to handle those?
The first thought that comes to mind is darned if I do and darned if I don't. I will tell you a funny little secret, and that is that Stu and I text each other on snow mornings. His text always comes early. He starts at 3. I don't start till 4. But when I get up on a snow morning, I know I'm going to have a text from Stu. More than 55